Yep.
Okay.
Started.
So we'll continue our talks on violence. Mahavir has made violence as a central issue. There is, I would say, hardly anybody who has looked into violence in such a detail. And to the point that Mahavir, the whole Jain religion has been based on non-violence. Although the most people who are the most lost people are about the violence are the Jains. Because if you ask them, all they say is not killing someone, not hurting someone. But Mahavir did not really go in that direction. The explanation of Mahavir's non-violence is totally different than the non-violence of the Jains. Not killing someone or hurting someone would be very easy for anybody to understand. It would not require a whole Mahavir to go into the forest for 12 years. He stayed mound for 12 years. He went inside his own psyche to really realize where the problems lie, and then ultimately to come up and say that non-violence is not killing someone would be a ridiculous way of spending 12 years into the forest. But he did. And the result was the whole philosophy of his thinking that is very deep and very difficult to understand. But when it is difficult to understand, it's a human tendency to take the easiest route. Instead of taking it such a deeper route, it's easier to say, okay, not kill someone. I mean, if he spent that much time, he could have definitely understood. And he's the one who gave the most importance to the Atma. Atma is all pervasive, Nirgun, Nirakar, omnipotent, omnipresent. It's something that cannot be destroyed. So, killing an ant can hardly be called a violence if the Atma of the ant is still going to survive. And supposing we look at it that okay, I killed the ant, and ant is dead with its atma, then there is the whole purpose of spirituality is useless. The whole discussion of spirituality lies on the fact that the atma is amar. Atma is something that is permanent, and based on the whole presumption that out of all the material life that we have, if we can come to the point of the immortality, then there is a there is a point in discussing the path of spirituality. So Mahavir at least knew that the Atma is permanent. So in that case, killing killing an ant or not killing an ant, hurting someone and hurting not someone, that all these discussions would have no value if we really want to go into the detail. So Mahavir says what is violence and why violence is connected with life. Why can't I just say that I did this and that's violence? Violence is distinctively connected with life. And why is that? Whenever we say violence, we say I'm gonna kill someone or something. So, but we're not realizing that deep inside we are talking about killing someone, taking somebody's life away, or something like that. So violence is integrated with taking away somebody's life in one form or the other. Whether we do it or not is another, but we talk about it. Killing the ant, not killing the ant, watching the small bugs, this and that. Ultimately, we want to respect their life. But again, we're talking about the life. So Mahavir says that the life that we have, we want to talk about violence only in relation to the life. And why is that? Why are we so connected with the life? Why the life is so important to us? So the question goes in, he says, why we want to preserve the life. At any cost, if you ask someone, say, are you having good time? I mean, not really. People have stress, people have sufferings, people have a lot of problems, and yet, at the end of the life, they don't want to give it up. To the point that they have made reservations in their mind that, okay, even if this life is gone, I know I'm going to have another life. who are we fooling? We are always looking at the future for the life to offer us something. And the most ingenious way of saying that, yes, there is reincarnation. I'm not saying there is not. But the whole purpose of people believing in reincarnation is that okay, I could not fix this life, so I will have another chance for the next life.
Excuse.
The Christianity does not allow the reincarnation. So they say there is only one life to live and enjoy. But even that fact, everybody had a different purpose. Even Jesus Christ himself reincarnated, but he did not allow the idea of reincarnation to the point that, okay, you have only one life to live, make the best use of it. But instead of doing that, they say, well, since there is no other life, let me just enjoy whatever I have. And Hindus took it in a different way, that okay, there is another life, so let me enjoy this life, I'll try to fix myself next life. So there is always a postponement. So we always looking at life, but we never really taking the life at its full grip. So the question of that Mahavir he has raised is very important question. Why are we so attached to life? After all, what are we wanting from the life? And it's more important, it's more practical question than even say, is there a God? Who made this world? Who created this world? Those are esoteric questions that may not get the answer. But the real practical question that he's raising, why are we so attached to life? He calls it jiveshana. You have intense desire to live. And that everybody can understand. Everybody knows that we have intense desire to live. And after all, why do we want to live? Why do we have intense desire to live? We have Jiveshna is so deeply built into us. We call it lust for life. Lust is an intense desire to obtain something from the life. And Mahavir says that as underlying the violence, this intense desire of life is the cause of the violence. And this is how it goes. Life is something that we share. Life is not something that is unlimited. Whatever we desire from the world, there are plenty of other people desiring the same thing. After all, there is the limitation to the amount of dollar bills which are printed, and it's thrown out into the streets, and everybody is fighting for it. So one person becomes the winner, another person has to be a loser. One person gets more than he wanted, that automatically means that another person gets less than what he wanted. Of course, that's the way we have set up the system. But our desire for the life never disappears. And as long as our goals remain the same, we have a conflict. If the same BMW that is parked in my neighbor's driveway, and if I want the same BMW, I have a problem. If I can afford it, then he's my friend. If I cannot afford it, somehow or the other, I will want to put him down. Oh, he's rich, because he must have done something wrong. Oh, these doctors, they always corrupt the system. Then I'll pick up a typical case scenario where the doctor was caught, this and that. And all I have to say is that this must have been. Whether I know it for fact or not, that's another story. But I'm always ready to put him down. Just because my eye is on that BMW I cannot afford. Of course, if I can afford, then he's my friend, I'm going to go shake hands with him, this and that, and he's part of my group. Fine. If I want the same girlfriend, if I can have her, that's one thing. But if I cannot have her, whoever is hanging out with him, if I'm in the crowd, I'll try to insult him. I'll try to put him down. All these techniques I'm playing all the time. If I am in a group and there is a politician in the group, and I am contending for the same position, then he's my enemy. I have to put him down. To put him down, I have to say something bad about him. This is a continuous process that's going on. This is how our mind operates. This is the way. If I'm not contending for the same position, what do I care? Why do I have to insult him? Why do I have to put him down? Why do I have to make him look so bad? I don't. So then I have no problems with him. I can just shake hands with him. I can say, good things to him. I say, wish him all the best, this and that. But deep inside, if I'm asking for the same thing. So wherever the common ground comes in, the rivalry starts. And the rivalry starts, and then the friction starts. And these are things are happening at a very subtle level. So we don't even realize that we are doing a lot of things. If there is an argument going on, if I want to win that argument, I will do anything that it takes. I will be very forceful. I can get angry. I can insult the guy. I can do whatever. If I'm thinking I'm losing, if I'm winning the argument, I will be enjoying it. If I'm losing the argument, I'm suffering. Now, suffering that I have inside me, either I can swallow it because I know I'm not winning the argument anymore, then I can be frustrated. I walk home very upset and very unhappy. But if I could put somebody down, I'm very happy. And I walk home. And then you say, well, the guy who lost the argument say, well, oh, this is okay, no big deal, it's only friends and this and that, I can walk away. So this friction is going on all the time. We are sitting here. There is a big black elephant sitting here. Do we notice it? Normal saying that big white elephant, you cannot neglect, right? In a meeting, everybody talks about so this and that, but yeah, there is a big white elephant we have to take care of. That's a normal saying. But on purpose, I say big black elephant. Because this is the elephant that we are neglecting all the time. You cannot even see him. And what is that? That is taking away the pleasure from our mind. There is a continuous interaction between my mind, your presence, your mind, my presence. All this thing is constituting big black elephant that we have no desire to even look beyond it and recognize the existence of it. And this big black elephant is robbing us of our pleasures, robbing us of our friendships for each other. If I have nothing in common with you, we are not sharing the same goals, I'm friend. I have no problem. I could be enjoying your company. And that's exactly how we choose our companies also. Where we have common grounds, we are not have anything to share, then you're my friend. People who I'm conflicting with, they will not be friends anymore. They will not be here anymore. This is how we choose. Walk around. Next time somebody comes in and we are sharing either I cannot stand the guy's how much money he has or whatever, I'll walk away. He will not be my friend anymore. So, or if he is a friend, meaning in a social circle, I'll be leaving the party kind of empty mind that, oh, I am not where he is. So the big black elephant is our ego. This ego is hurting us all the time, and yet the life has become so perpetually interwoven with that ego that we cannot come out of it, and we cannot neglect it either. And when we cannot neglect, we are continuously involved, walking around with that ego. Mahavir says that this lust for life has not taken me anywhere. Whatever I desired cannot even stay with me, and if it stays with me longer, I lose the charm in it. Buddha always said that, yeah, I could use the company of beautiful women if they stay beautiful all the time, but they don't. And if they do stay beautiful, I lose interest in them. So one way or the other, the experience that I was having, I see it very limited amount of experience that I could have. So this lust for life does not seem to be taking anywhere. Even if I want things from the life keeps on slipping away. And if nothing for nothing, the death takes everything anyway. So Mahavir says, I give up this jiveshna. I give up this lust for life. I give up from wanting things from life. This tremendous lust that I have built in is useless. And we give beautiful wordings to it, you give beautiful decorations on it, and all these things, but ultimately, this lust for life, everything that is given to us after we are born, we get addicted to it. They were never yours. When you are born, were you born with written on it that you are this and this? Just because People told you that you are Hindu, you become a Hindu. Just because people tell you you're a Muslim, so you become a Muslim. Just because you are born in India, you become an Indian. All these are artificial attachments given to us. We walk around with it, we preserve it till we die, and we fight for it. When everybody is Indian, you sit here and you exchange the good things about India and this and that. Fine. You walk out of the room, and all of a sudden Pakistani comes in, or some Middle Eastern comes in, and or China comes in, and they hate India for whatever reasons. Immediately you get hurt. So if somebody hurts you, it's not them. They happen to be only the cause, the nimit for your frustration, because you had a fixed idea that you are an Indian. So it's like walking around with a gasoline can, and the kids are playing with the fireworks. One spark falls on your gasoline can and you have a big fire. The problem was not the spark. Spark could have fallen on you without the can of gasoline, you wouldn't have any problem. You could have just passed through a little spark here and there. But the can of gasoline, which is ready to get inflamed, you are walking around with it. And you have been walking around with it all your life. You want something from life, and life gives you something else, and you suffer because your desire to get something from life was responsible for your suffering. So Dada Bhagwan always says, Je bhogve ani bhul. Whenever you become unhappy, whenever, at any time in your life, you analyze and you will realize, if you have a deeper thinking like Mahavir, you will realize that the cause was you and not anybody else. Bhogve ani bhul. That's the way it is. If supposing, say, if you stretch, I put it in our group the other day, if you look at the life is nothing but a whiteboard, and you're writing with a white chalk. It has no effect. If there is a whiteboard and you're trying to write with a white chalk, it's not going to have any implications, any effect. The only time it will have an impact is when you write on a blackboard. If you look at it before you were born, you were in a total silence. Once your life is over, silence will return. The death will return. Connect the dots and make that a blackboard. And all of a sudden, the whole life from the birth to the death starts having a meaning. That you were unmanifest, and now you're manifest, and you will be unmanifest again. So connect that as your perpetual state of existence in an unmanifest way. The life becomes meaningful. That means whatever the life gives you is going to be temporary. At the end of the death, is going to be taken away. And whatever you did get in the life was never yours to begin with. So, supposing you work hard and you make money. Fine, you worked hard. Who gave you the money? The sansar. Every single dollar that I have came from my patients. It was never mine. The most you can say, you are a trustee. The sansar puts the trust in you that they considered your service is more important than somebody else's service, so they came to you. And for the time that you are alive, for the time that you have, you become a trustee. And that's the trust the society has given you, hoping that whatever we give you, you will utilize it for the benefit of the society. But we don't think, but we call it my money. How valuable is that ownership? If there is a trust, for example, where all the money is given to that trust, for example, and the trustee utilizes in a very wrong way, thinking that this is his money, what do you call him? He's a thief, because he broke the trust of the people who put the money in the trust. So the same way, the ownership makes you a thief. All the money that you call it yours, you become a thief. And supposing somebody steals the money from you, and what would you call him? A thief? Yeah, maybe. He's a smaller thief, but bigger thief are you. So one thief stealing from another thief Where is the problem? So our attachment to everything that we have, we are suffering. And whenever somebody wants to take that away, where the common grounds are created, that's where the conflict starts. The common ground created between the money that you had and the money that the thief wanted, the common ground created the friction. But we were the one to be blamed that we call that money ours. And that's where the suffering comes up. Bhogve and Ibul. So suffering comes from the idea of ownership. We all have that ownership concept. Some people have ownership concept for the money, ownership concept for the girlfriend, or the spouse, or the house, or the keys, your ideas, your beliefs. All these things are ultimately the cause of suffering because that's where the ownership is established.
Situation?
No, I'm fine.
Okay. It's ready.
So competition comes in between the conflicts of the ego. As long as egos do not conflict, we have friends. When the egos conflict, we have enemies and we suffer. The suffering goes on all the time. So Mahavir says that I want to create a zone within myself where I have lost or I give up on my own, with my own will, the lust for life. This jiveshna is the cause of hinsa. Because when I have lust for life, I get blinded by that object, whoever or whatever I am get attached to. If I want to win an argument, if I want to do this, if I want to do this, I want to prove myself at any cost, I want to have that car at any cost, if I want to have that girlfriend at any cost, I become blinded to the point that I can even kill. So he is saying that underlying the desire for the violence is the desire for life. Because we do not understand the life. Life is not here to give you anything. And the life is not here to grab anything from that. If you derive a pleasure from anybody, you're deriving pleasure from life in general. And your tendency to desire from anything from the life is the ultimate cause of violence. Because if I like this life, and that is the whole purpose of wanting things from life, because that's why I don't want to give up the life. That's why we're resisting the death also. We resist death because we like life so much. We like life so much that we don't want to come to the death. That we don't want the death in our life. We want to keep on living forever. And that's why we're resisting the death. I resist the death to the point that if I have to kill someone, I will be ready. And that's where the suffering comes in. And other people have to suffer because of your desire for life. A couple of years back in Livingston Mall, Short Hills Mall, a young couple was killed because of the BMW.
No.
Husband and wife.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
It was different car. No.
Wasn't it? I don't know. I think it
No,
was
it was
BMW.
an SUV. It was an SUV.
But BMW SUV or something.
Yeah, it was.
But anyway, it
SUV.
was a young lawyer couple. And
I
they
know.
were killed just because the conflict happened
Yeah.
on the whatever is the desire. And didn't even have to kill. They were ready to give it away. Still they killed. So you get blinded by the objects of your desire so much that you're ready to insult someone. Now, violence to the killing is the ultimate, of course, is the act, because by killing someone, you're making sure that he cannot ask anything from life anymore. This is the extreme that you can get. But at the small scales, violences are happening anyway. Every time I insult someone, every time I get angry on someone, anytime I try to put somebody down in the group, all these things are also violences happening at the smaller level. And all that is because we want something. Either we want recognition from everybody so that I am correct, or I want to have some position in the society, or whatever. Something that the life has to give me that I want. But what if I don't want anything? That's what Mahavir calls the ultimate solution for the violence in this world.
So if you don't want anything from the life, then what's the purpose of
That's the
having
thing. Wait till it happens. That's when the joy comes in. That's when the pleasure comes in. All of a sudden, everybody becomes your friend. You walk around with no desire for anything. All of a sudden, look at the children. They don't want anything. They just want to play. They want to have fun. That's when the fun starts. As long as I want something, my mind is single tracked to wanting things. And whenever I get what I want, I'm okay. But whoever comes in the middle of between me and my objects of desire, I fight. I have friction. I have this. I have that. And this is the state of our mind all the time. So desireless state is a beautiful state. There is a book written on that topic. Is called Lust for Life. Was written on the life of Vincent van Gogh. Vincent van Gogh was a famous Dutch painter, right? He painted for his soul. He never painted for money. He experienced the stillness in his heart and he painted. He had no lust for life. In fact, he was very poor. He never really commercialized his painting. Now they go in millions of dollars. His brother at one time felt sorry because a lot of times he had no money. His brother would lend him money. He did not even have money to buy the paintbrush and the paint. But he kept on painting as whatever he can. His brother would lend him the money, and whatever money he would eat for 5 days a week, 2 days he would not eat, so that he can buy the paintbrush and the paint. At one time, his brother felt so bad, and he says, "You're crazy. You keep on painting, and nobody is even buying anything. You cannot even make any money out of it." So he says, "Money for painting? Why?" He didn't know what was going to happen in 21st century. That's another story. So one time, his brother created a customer. He paid him to go and buy the painting from him. So the guy comes in, and he says, "I want to buy your painting." And he said, "Maybe it's my lucky day." Okay, look at the paintings. Now the guy who was going to buy the painting, he had no interest in buying. All he cared was just making a sale work so that he gets some money so that he can make a living on his own. But he knew he did not really pay attention. He says, "I'm going to buy this painting or that painting or something," right? Vincent van Gogh says, "Paintings are not for sale anymore. I don't see your heart. You are not buying the painting. You just
But you
make
like it.
It is a setup. You don't even care about the painting." So he did not sell the painting. He ended up dying broke. But he said that when I paint the sun, I become the sun. When I paint the farm, I swing like the crop of the wheat. All the plants, when they sway, I sway with them. This is me reflected in my paintings. So the lust for life kills all this fun. So Sigmund Freud was a great psychologist of the century. He created a word for this situation, the lust for life. He called eros. Eros means lust for life. And he created another word, the hatred for life, and he coined it thanatos. So eros and thanatos were the two situations of the mind he described. And he said eros is where you have intense desire of obtaining something from life. But thanatos, where you hate life. And yes, people die. People commit suicide. When they hate life and they don't want anything from the life, they commit suicide. So, but the problem was, this is all he knew. He could not have gone to the state where the Mahavir was. There is a very big difference between thanatos and what Mahavir is saying, that lust for life is bad. Because thanatos, meaning the hatred for life, is also eros in the first place. If I want certain girl, I'm happy, life is beautiful, my lust for life is fulfilled, I'm happy. But supposing that girl decides to marry someone else, and I hate life, I intensified, I pinpointed my desire for life in such a small segment, it focused on one person. The lust for life became conditional. All of a sudden, if the girl changes her mind, I don't want to die. I'm ready to commit suicide if I don't have her. If I'm ready to commit suicide because the stock market crashed to 800 or 8,000, if it becomes 17,000, I have no problem. I can come back to life. Most of the suicides are committed impulsively. A lot of people, if you had a chance to if you ask them, they say, well, they made a mistake. It is too late. Some people become, they are not successful and they survived and they end up losing their legs or they have broken arms and legs and they suffered and they have burnt body or whatever. They did not die yet, they will say, well, it was a mistake. Impulsively, they did it. Because Thanatos of Sigmund Freud is intense eros. There is no difference. But Freud could not have known the third state of mind, where you become realistic and you, with the very careful observation, you realize that life cannot give you anything meaningful. Life cannot give you anything everlasting. Life cannot fulfill your desires because desires have no end. One desire will be fulfilled, another will be springing up, another will be satisfied, and the third will be springing up, and it is nothing but a rat race. And after all, what Mahavir did not have? He was a prince. He could have everything that he wanted. In equivalent in those days, he had nothing that could have asked for. And yet, he did not see. That's what Buddha said. Same thing. He was a prince too. So they said there has to be something that is beyond what I see. I see everybody waking up in the morning, everybody going to work, everybody coming out with loads of money, and then trying to save, trying to invest, this and that, and then at the end of life giving up away everything. There is futility built into this Jiveshna. Because of the Jiveshna, we cannot enjoy the life. The life that we know, the sansar, where we have nothing but sense of ownership that we walking around with that sense of ownership, we are trying to accumulate more and more. Whenever we are successful, we are happy. Whenever somebody comes in the way, we are conflicting. So we have divided the whole society into friends, where we have nothing in common to fight for. That's why we are friends. And we have people who are enemies. We don't want to, we are avoid certain people or whatever. This is what's going on all our life. And when that happens, the jivan, the life, the pulse of life, we are missing it. The pulse of life, the children have seen it. They seem to enjoy life because they have no desires. They just want to enjoy. They have total satisfaction of life. Whatever they have, they're fine. Whatever they don't have, they're okay too. Something else will attract them. A flying butterfly will attract them. A flower will be attracted to them. Nothing for nothing. A leaf they will find something, some pleasure in the leaf. Every little thing that comes in front of that, look at with a curiosity. Because they never want anything. So Jiveshna is killing the Jivan. The life that we call life is not life. The life that gives rise to what we see at a bigger level is where we want to be. And that's connecting the dots between the life, between the birth, before the birth and after the death. There is something that will be always there. All your desires will disappear. All your thoughts will disappear. All your wishes will disappear. Your ideas will disappear. Yet you will be there. Experience that state. Mahavir wants you to go and experience that state where there is no death. When your desire for life is strong, your resistance for death is also strong. But if you realize the meaninglessness of this life, then your waking up starts. And when you wake up fully, you become Buddha. You are the awakened one, where life cannot make you happy, life cannot make you unhappy. You remain in a steady state and keep enjoying that inner silence, inner peace, and inner happiness perpetually. Because at that level, there is no death either. Death is of the body. Even at the death level, you will be only observing. Just the way you are observing this cycle of life, you will be observing the death also. You will not be resisting. If the death comes, it comes as a part of a natural phenomenon, just the way everything else has come. Just the way the spring has come, the fall has come, and the winter has come, and the spring has come again. Life will keep on repeating itself. This big flow of life is unending. To experience that unendingness is spirituality. Patanjali calls this abhinivesh, just another word for lustful life. Mahavir calls it jiveshana. Abhinivesh is intense attachment to life, in one form or the other. What you desire, it doesn't matter. You could have a desire because of your knowledge, that you want to be recognized. You may have a desire for, Osho says, dhan chaho ya dhyan chaho, pad chaho ya paramatma chaho. Chah is sansar. Chah is the big black elephant. We want to convert into big white elephant by thinking on it that this big white elephant is robbing of our day-to-day pleasure that we could have had. We have nothing but suffering. We are walking around with ego. We are walking around with the sword in our mian, where we are ready to draw it and defend it anytime. Anytime somebody insults India, I'll be doing that. Same thing, because I am an Indian. I have these identifications, they are hurting me. And these identifications, when they are dissolved, you become like a child. People ask Jesus Christ, who will be allowed to enter in your kingdom of heaven? There was a child right next to him. He picked him up. He said that people who can become like him will be allowed. Not children, people who can become like a child. When I have nothing to gain from this life, what do I have anything against anyone? My horizons expand. The whole world becomes my friend. And that's the way to live life, not the desires. Because desires, there is no end. Elizabeth Taylor married 8 times. Out of that, one guy was lucky or unlucky to be married to twice. One of them was the same husband that she thought, we never give up.
What a fool you are. Marrying the same.
And the highest record is 29 marriages for one man, and one lady married 23 times, and both of them married to each other at one time. And that was a sham marriage, because they wanted to put it in the Guinness Book of World Records. As soon as they never consummated the marriage, I looked up. It was funny. So one of the marriage of the man and one of the marriage of the woman was just set up so that they could set up a record that one who had married the most 29 times could marry.
It's a recognition race.
2 record holders, right?
So Mahavir says, I am giving up the lust for life. But that does not mean I want to die. To do something is a doership. If I want to hasten my death by the suicide, then I am a doer. Then I am neglecting this life also. I don't want anything from the life because I am bigger than life. I am a lot bigger than what this life can offer. So I want to be in that state. And the Mahavir is little by little taking us into that deeper state of existence where there is perpetual bliss, perpetual happiness. And that can happen only if we give up this grip on the life that we have put conditions in life, that life has to give me this, life has to give me this. No conditions. When you give up conditions, you become infinite. That means whatever comes, you are okay. Whatever happens, next time I see person, whether he appreciates me or not, I don't put conditions for my happiness. My happiness is my happiness. It's not conditional. And at that level, whatever happens, that's what life created, so be it. If somebody comes and insults me, somebody does not give me respect, they represent the life. And life is what life is. This is life. pluses or minuses, ups or downs, would not deter me from staying in that state of perpetual bliss. So much for today. More talk tomorrow.
Good.